Welcome to Engineering Culture, where we discuss how to build a culture through teamwork, accountability, and competitive greatness with thought leaders, that is coaches, superintendents, principals, all of those things. We are Engineering Culture. This time with Colorado State men's basketball coach Niko Medved. Coach, again, thank you for spending some time with me and kind of talking a little differently than maybe what you're used to about your team and program.
Well, Mike, I appreciate you having me, and I love what you're doing with this. And yeah, I look forward to talking.
Okay. Let's just start with defining culture. How do you define culture?
In the simplest terms, obviously, you can talk about it for hours, but the simplest way I can put it in, I believe culture is the collective attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors of everyone in your organization. Your culture is not what you say it is, it's what it actually is. And it's it's like a heartbeat. It's constantly evolving with, everybody in your organization and how they behave, what they believe, what they're actually doing. And those are things that, are a day-to-day thing. And that's what it is. It all starts with the people and how they behave and what they believe. And that's in my opinion, the simplest way that I can define culture.
How much do you prioritize being a good human, your culture that you have built, et cetera, all the off the court stuff in the recruiting process?
It's huge. And, if you talk to my staff, they would tell you, there's times where they probably get annoyed where I'm just so exhaustive, trying to dig deep and figure out, how these young men are wired. How are they? They're going to fit into what we want. And I want to coach good people. I want to coach guys that I enjoy being around, that want to grow, that want to compete, that love basketball. And that I know are going to be a great fit. And that's one thing as the head coach, I do get to decide is, who you hire, who we bring into our organization. And I believe it's about people. And that's a huge deal for us in the recruiting process. And I think it's a competitive separator. I mean, you have to have talent to win. Everybody understands that. We're all trying to acquire talent. But at the same point in time, it's got to be the right kind of person, the people that believe in what we do, that I believe are going to fit here, that are going to be happy, that are going to love it, and that are going to add value to what we're doing.
Whether it was, Furman, Drake, now Colorado State, you've built a sustainable program. Drake was just that year, but Furman, obviously you were there for a handful of years. Didn't win as many games right away, but you kind of built it, right? You're stacking bricks. Same thing that you've done at Colorado State, stacking bricks. How do you build a sustainable program?
Well, I think, that's a great question. I mean, it's being true to yourself. And, I always tell people, as everyone knows, we're going through this chaotic time in college athletics, with the NIL and the portal, and you're talking conference realignment. all these things are hitting us at once. And I think the key is you have to have a curious mind, and you have to be evolving, embrace evolving. But can you do that without fundamentally changing? I think that's the key. And, you have to have your core values, believe in how the vision you have for your program and what works for you. And can you be true to that, but also embrace, the evolution of things, and constantly taking a look at yourself and how can we get better? How can we grow? And, be able to do that without fundamentally changing who you are. And I think that's how you can have a sustainable program. And I'll go back to what I said before, Mike. It's about people. That's the deal. This is about people. And, I learned really, really quick as a head coach, when you surround yourself with, great assistant coaches and support staff who are great people and really talented, and you have great players who are also great people, they make you look like you know what you're doing. And the second we think it's all about us, you're in for a rude awakening.
You brought up staff, right? Obviously that's important. A lot of guys just take, hey, like they're the best recruiter that I could find, and I don't know if they're going to fit, culturally or what I believe in, or those certain things. how that feels like it's really important to you to be surrounded by very kind of like-minded, I guess, people.
Yeah, I mean, I want like-minded as far as the values. I want guys who love the game, love to coach, love to teach, who I see being head coaches one day, the entire package. But at the same point in time, I want guys who are going to tell me what they think. I don't need a bunch of yes men around me. I need guys who are going to share their opinions, help me with blind spots. But they're also guys that understand that, hey, I'm here to grow the culture that Coach Medved wants, and that we do believe our values are the same, but we're also embracing that evolution and guys who bring ideas and can help us get better. And so, when you say like-minded, I agree, but I think some people can misconstrue that as I don't need everybody just like me. I need people who are going to help us and challenge us and make us better. And I think that's where the fine line is. And just like we are in recruiting, I think, any head coach, if you're going to be successful, you really better do a great job of vetting the people on your staff. And if you don't do that well, it's going to be difficult to have success.
Is it hard you brought it up with NIL and transfer portal and all of those things? How hard is it to evaluate and sustain the kind of culture that you want? Culture, obviously a big buzzword right now, especially in this conversation. But how hard is it? How hard is it to evaluate that with all the changes in the roster turnover that could happen year after year? Can it be effective if you're flipping rosters and all of that every year?
The honest answer, Mike, anyone who says they know for sure is lying to you, right? It's all new. It's all kind of happening, at once. And so I think that's a challenge for all of us. But, going back to what I said, I think, as I look at this and I said, okay, what's worked for me as a head coach? What do I believe in? What kind of program do I want to have? I can't stray away from that because the circumstances around us are changing. But I also have to realize that, maybe I'm going to have to tweak a little bit of, how we recruit, how we look at things, maybe how we intentionally build our culture, maybe, put some resources into different things. And, the reality sometimes in the transfer portal in the spring, you have to evaluate a lot of information in a short period of time. And that can be really, really difficult. What's your process for doing that? And I think that's something we're all trying to wrap our arms around. And at the same time, with all these things going on, and there are a lot of changes that are great for the players. Players have more opportunities, than they've ever had, and that's a good thing. But at the same point in time, I think you really have to dig down and figure out what's the most important thing to this young man. Does he love basketball? Does he truly love it? Is he a highly competitive person? Does he value being a part of a team? How much is winning important to him? And, through that, obviously, you want kids to grow and have all the individual success that they can. And I think another huge piece of it, Mike, is the people around these young men, the people that they listen to. Are they going to allow you to coach their son? Do they value what you bring? Are they going to let him be a part of your program and allow him to grow in your program? And you have to be honest about how you evaluate all those things. And sometimes it's difficult if you see a talented young man, but in your mind, whatever your red flags are, you start to see those things. Do you have the maturity and the wisdom to say no and say, man, that sounds good now, but I just, in the long run, that's not going to work here for us. And those can be difficult things, but I think those are all questions we're asking ourselves. And you got to be honest with yourself and make, great decisions on who you bring in your program.
Maybe the last one here, and you kind of brought it up, but the old saying, and I believe it, I guess, good players want coached hard. A lot of times that gets misconstrued. But at the end of the day, if you're a good player, they want coached hard.
Yeah, and I think, how do you define coaching hard? I mean, I think some people say coach hard means you're going to yell and scream and curse and whatever. I mean, yeah, sometimes, there's a lot of different ways to coach somebody hard, to bring intensity and enthusiasm and purpose and intention to what these guys want. And it all starts with loving it, man. If you don't truly love basketball, don't come to Colorado State. I mean, we tell guys that all the time. If you're not a highly competitive person, don't come to Colorado State. You're not going to be happy. So you need to be honest with yourself. And I think there's a lot of different ways to coach hard, but you can coach with, being really intentional about what you do, doing it with great enthusiasm, high level of accountability, those kinds of things. And I agree with you. I think the best players and the great players, that's what they want. And you have to be able to evaluate that, in my opinion, in the recruiting process. Is this somebody who's going to embrace the way we teach, and the level of accountability and attention to detail that we have here. And I think all those things play a huge part in it.
Maybe the good players want coached hard mantra, or I guess saying should be good players want to be held accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. They want the standard to be high. You have to have a standard high. They want a high level of accountability. They want somebody, who's going to constantly pay attention and work with them and help them grow and help them see their blind spots. And, I look at it as, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a teacher, but we're also partners in this. We're all trying to achieve the same goals. And the other thing I tell, don't be afraid to be vulnerable with your players. And, we're all human beings. And I think that sometimes, more the players can see that you have a human side to you too, and you're not perfect. But you want guys, we're all pulling in the same direction, and we're going to work really, really hard for you. And we care about you, and we expect the same thing in return. And I think that's all part of your culture, Mike. And but you're right. I mean, listen, if you've got guys that you have to beg to come into the gym, you've got guys that, don't want to be taught, who are, poor, some people say cancers in the locker room or whatever. I look back and I say, that was a recruiting problem. Somehow we did not evaluate, the situation well enough. And we should have known before that this young man was not going to fit our expectations and what we're about.
Last thing here, and I'm saying this because I know when it's rocking, it is really rocking. And it goes to culture. Your home court advantage is pretty strong. And how kind of important is that? And it kind of ties into, if we recruit the right players and if we develop them correctly, then it's all the all-encompassing basketball culture of our fans, our support, those sort of things. It feels like it's all this big mission, I guess maybe would be the term.
Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest mantras we have is team together, and I think that just not just your team is your community, your fans. Right. I mean, it's everything. Your administration, we're all in this together, and to really do it right, you got to have everything humming. And for us, our fans were incredible, and I believe you get investment through connection. You want people to invest in your program, to buy tickets, to come cheer you on, to donate money, to be a part of it. You have to establish a connection with those people. And a lot is having the right kind of guys in your program, the guys who really value that and do a great job in our community, spend time talking to fans, inviting, anyone can come to our practice, and our players just do an unbelievable job of connecting with our fans and their children and you name it, and all of our stakeholders. And I think as we do that, and then the team starts to win and have success, and they play an unselfish style, they become easy to cheer for. And yeah, Moby Arena was electric this year. We had one of the best attended seasons in school history. Our student attendance was off the charts. We sold out. Our last 5 games were sellouts. We had to turn away students because we didn't have seats, and that's the best problem that we've ever had. And so that's really exciting and something that we're really looking forward to building on.
Yeah, John Tanji is one of those guys. So go John Tanji.
Yeah, he's awesome. And you want to talk about a guy who fits our culture and a guy who's grown. And I'm really excited for him. He's a terrific player, but he's really turned into a heck of a leader.
Yeah, I just have the Nebraska connection with John.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm saying that. All right, Coach, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Thanks for the insight. Great conversation, and good luck.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you having me.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.